Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing well. It is the 6th of August, and this is your daily market outlook for today. Again, you guys probably noticed it's been extremely boring this week in regards to major pairs. Yeah, we'll cover that obviously in a second. This should be a short one just because there's nothing much really going on. But if we look at the positive side, there's always going to be moves inside of the market. So before we get into the daily market outlook, I just want to let you guys know that the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Trading and investing involves risk, and you should always conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Always understand that any past performances discussed does not guarantee future results, and you are always responsible for your own financial decisions. So let's get straight into the markets and see what is going on. Hopefully, you guys should be able to see my screen. Well, let me just double check. Yeah, perfect. So looking at today, red and orange for the news, which I've got it filtered into. We have nothing at all. We've obviously had NZ, New Zealand dollar, unemployment rate, red folder news, which was at 12:45 my time yesterday, last night. So that's all that's going on today. There's no other news, no other, red or orange folder at all. So yeah, man. Nothing that we can basically look out for going into today. Now, again, does that mean that we're going to get boring, market moves like we have done pretty much all week? Pretty much probably. But let's just see what's going on anyway. So if we look from a naked eye for the US dollar, let's make this bigger. If you look from this perspective as we speak, if you just look at the trend that's going on, you can see that the market is obviously, created them lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high. And we have been printing pretty much the lower lows and lower highs. The scenario that we had was, where the market created this range from this lower high to this lower low. Market retraced, failed to go and create a new lower low, and then obviously had this change of trend. So we've got this market structure here. This is my higher low, this is my higher high. So that is the first thing that I, notice. Now, if we just zoom into, this area as we speak, you can probably notice that the past 2 days, obviously Monday and Tuesday, we've talked about this area here. Now, of course, the more that we're slowing down, the more I'm thinking more towards a dollar dumping off to come and rebalance this market, and then even potentially coming into this daily demand. So if we look from this perspective, let's just, I'm going to get rid of this just for a sec, but you'll be able to notice that, of course, we do have, let's just mark that out, all this imbalance here that we can attack, and then we still have some little imbalance inside of this daily demand area as well. So that's my first thoughts just going into today, just simply because, the market is obviously slowed down. The market has, not give us a reaction that we was waiting for, which, pretty much for me tells me that I don't know. I just think sellers are more in than buyers. And if you look at this candle here, and then look at the volume candle on this as well, you'll be able to notice that, pretty much for the size of this volume candle here to the size of the actual candle, it's telling me that there's more sellers stepping in from an institutional standpoint. So yeah, I'm expecting more downside for the dollar. Again, unless we get some sort of confirmation breakout from here in the lower time frames, then obviously we can, see what is going on. Now, you guys remember yesterday. Yesterday, I am going to get rid of this noise still. Yesterday, we were talking pretty much about, this little move here. You guys remember, we was in this demand area, and then we had these two 4-hour candles, which, give me confidence of the market potentially looking to go higher. We had this engulfing candle here, and then the market, seemed to give us that confirmation that we could see the market high. Now we retraced, and as you guys can see, we traced into this demand area, slowed down, and now we're getting that movement away. So yeah, it was pretty not frustrating because the market's always going to do the markets. But if you look from this perspective, one thing I want to show you guys from a dollar perspective is if you just look at where the market's reacting out of, we had this fresh 1 hour supply with this imbalance above where these equal highs was, and that's where the market is then dumped away. So, for me personally, if the market was to carry on, I'm going to show you where I think the market's going to carry on from. So we just follow the trend that's going on, from this area, the little pullback, come into here, dumped away, broken this structure, market retraced, and then we're currently here. So the range that we're in on the 1 hour is from this high to obviously currently this lower low. So one thing I want you guys to understand is the market, once we dumped off, the market retraced to fill in this little area here. If we go to the lower time frames where the imbalance started, there'll be probably something a lot more clearer. So that'll be my 1 hour supply. Let's just cut it in half, see if there's anything a bit clearer. Imbalance as well. Yeah, you can see this is the 1 hour candle, but this is where the imbalance started and that's where the market reacted from. So looking at the market currently, if it was to carry on, where can we see the market carry on from? Well, look straight away. We have this fresh 1 hour supply area here where the market is currently reacting from. Fresh 1 hour supply area, we have imbalance, which is above. So as of right now, from a 1 hour perspective, this is my thoughts overall. That's my thoughts overall, which is happening. Of course, if we do get the opposite and we see a market, break out, above these highs, then again, we can obviously make a decision to, potentially long this again. But as of right now, for me, it favors more so shorts on the dollar. So that's my perspective going into this today. Now, I'm going to quickly just mark out these 1 hour structures so we can keep an eye on. But yeah, man, hopefully that makes sense for you guys as well as me. Hopefully you guys can spot that. Now, going into the other major pairs, let's have a look at what EU is doing. Now, EU, I'm not going to go into the higher time frames. Yes, we have a shitload of imbalance to fill in below here. In fact, let's just look at the four. And that was my target of if the dollar was going to be long, obviously we could come and attack this imbalance below here. But then obviously we played to the fact that it was in this kind of interest, which obviously was like, okay, we do carry on, this would be a great area. But if you guys remember, from the daily time frame, we talked about obviously we do still have this imbalance in the deeper part, and we also do have this, daily supply. Now, most people as support and resistance traders, which is where people can get caught out, is most people will be looking at this area on the daily as support and resistance. So if you look, markets come up, there's one respect, obviously it's broke above, we come back down, respect to the same area, broke below, and then obviously come and taps into this area as well. So a lot of people will be getting faked out in this area. So I do think if the dollar's going to obviously carry on shorting, then I expect this imbalance to come and get attacked, and also this daily supply to come and get attacked as well. And then if that happens, so let's say we get this, either from the imbalance or the supply, if we get obviously this, that'll be perfect scenario because this is my daily lower high, daily lower low. So hopefully that makes clear sense. Let's just mark this daily range out so you guys can see. Okay, when that happens. Yep, so you can see the range. Perfect. So I do think if like I said, dollar's going to go down, we can expect to try and long the dollar. Now, of course, if you look at the four, one thing that stuck out to me straight away yesterday was, if you guys remember, we talked about, if you look at the one, we was in this 1 hour range from this higher low to this higher high. And of course, we had this 1 hour supply area. We kept creating lows, for people to obviously buy early. And then the market came down, tapped into that. And then one thing that we got was, if we look back at the four, we have this big juicy, um, you know, engulfing candle here. This big juicy engulfing candle, which was this one here. So you guys can hopefully see that. And then obviously that, changed my perspective a little bit of going, I think potentially, this is wanting to go upwards. So let's obviously keep an eye out on that. Yes, obviously we're still in this supply area as well from a four. So we are kind of trapped between this 4 hour supply and this 1 hour demand. But this candle is telling me a lot. So again, everything expect the dollar to do its thing, and then you follow suit with the pairs. That's my advice. But again, it's not trading advice. Um, so yeah, what I would potentially like to see happen for myself is if the market retraced back into this and it aligned with the dollar, then potentially look for longs in this area, and then obviously long this up. Of course, scenario number two would be if we get a reaction from this supply and it slows down and then we just get a break, then we can obviously look to short this to fill in this imbalance. So hopefully that makes sense. If we just drop down to the one, can we see anything significant? Well, not really. Yes, we've tapped into this demand area here. Is it enough for me to participate? Well, again, if we look at the dollar is reacting from that 1 hour supply, so that could align with that as to why the market is reacting from this demand area here. For me personally, just to be completely honest, I don't like the fact that we would leave like this imbalance below. I just don't like that fact that we would leave this imbalance. But again, I'm not always right. So let's see what happens going into the rest of today with EU. Let's say we do break above from this area, then obviously we can look to potentially getting them longs on a pullback if possible. So let's see. Going into GBP/USD, again, it's just been the same scenario over and over and over again, where the market has, slowed down in this daily trap area here. We do have this daily range from this daily lower high to this daily lower low. We do have a lot of imbalance that we can come and fill, of course, and that could be a target which we can attack if the dollar does go down. Obviously, the majors we can expect to do the opposite. So as you can see, we tapped into this on Friday. We've had Friday pretty much in that area, Monday, Tuesday, and now still in this candle on Wednesday. So for me, you guys can see this candle of interest, this blue area is where we're at. Obviously, if you look from a 4 hour as well, you can see that, the market's just been extremely consolidated. Also, obviously building up, it has been building up this sort of liquidity on both sides. Liquidity here. And it has been, I know we've tapped above, but it has pretty much been creating liquidity at both as well. So, for me, of course, right now, looking at the 4 hour, there's nothing much that I can talk about. This area here came, if it was to go bullish, we're in a 4 hour demand. We had this institutional engulfing candle, market retraced to fill in the imbalance, almost tapped into this demand, and then we're slowly moving away. So, there's no saying that we can't just carry on. If we look at the one, let's just focus on what's going on. Let's just focus to see what's going on. So you can see that this area of imbalance is where this market came into and reacted. Didn't tap into this demand. Market's continuously just reacting. Where we're currently from, reacting from would be, let me just see if there's a lower time frame. There's a little bit of imbalance that we started here. Nothing clear as well. Like GU's disgusting. But you guys hopefully can see the fact that we have this candle here, but then we have this breakout, markets retraced, filled in this imbalance, and then we're slowly moving away from that. But again, you guys looking at this scenario, and you guys should be getting the experience now of how obviously I explain stuff. You'll be able to know if I'm not interested, I'm not interested. But looking at this grey area that we've got, do you think this is a safe place to, put your money on the table? I don't personally. I really, really don't. So again, GU for me, it's something significant would have to happen. Let's say on the four or on the one, we just get a decent breakout institutional candle, then we can make a decision from this supply if we're going to obviously long this or if we're going to try and short this down. Again, let's see what happens going into today and also what happens with the dollar. AUD USD, we are getting that movement slowly away. We are about to tap into this 4-hour supply area. So again, let's have a look at the daily and see what is going on. Same scenario, pretty much where the daily is obviously in this range. We have obviously been keeping an eye on this candle of interest here. This is where the market is filled in the imbalance, just tapped. Now we're slowly getting that bullish movement away. So if you look from the daily, we could see more of them bulls happening, which again could tell us what could happen with VU and GU and so on and so on. So if you guys remember, yes, we was in this range here, but we talked about the fact that if you follow the structure of here, you can see that we create lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we had this 4-hour change of trend. Market straight away retraced into this last candle, and then that's where the market has been, now bullish. So that has, pretty much worked out perfectly from a structural standpoint. Now, of course, this supply areas we're going to have to keep an eye on, and obviously see what is going to happen because that's going to be important to keep an eye on. But for me, again, going back to the dollar, if the dollar is going to do the opposite, then what we can keep an eye on is I would like to see this 4-hour demand area met. Now, again, if I cut this in half and then go down to the lower time frames like the one, can I see anything that's significant? No, not really. Anything on the 30 or the 15? Not really again. But from a 4-hour market has retraced, to be fair, but if we was, I would like to just see a reaction. Let's say we got, before we got into this supply, let's say we had, a nice bullish engulfing reaction, and then we can make a decision from this 4-hour supply and also from what the dollar is doing. So yeah, man, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that does make sense to you guys. Nothing is as clear, it's very consolidated as you guys can probably see. Now, same scenario for NZUSD, probably a little bit more clear on the 4, because if you follow the 4-hour structure, we have lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This should have come up to go and create a new lower low. We've failed to go and create a new lower low. What's happened? Markets retraced into this 4-hour demand because of this institutional candle, and now we're getting that bullish movement away. So if you're looking at this scenario right now, would you put your money on looking for longs or looking for shorts? Most likely you should be saying looking for longs. So for me personally, that's what I'd be prioritizing if the dollar gives me that scenario, even if we're in a supply, just because of the way that it's shaping up, unless something happens. And if you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 candles to get into this demand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles to obviously go bullish. Is there more movement in the bulls than the bears? It seems like there is. So looking at the lower time frames, what can we see? Nothing as clear as I would like. If I just cut this in half and try and follow the structure. This is where we had obviously the breakout. So I'll be keeping my eye on this area here potentially. One second. I'm potentially just coming into this low here as a 30-minute, 15-minute demand. I'm just going to mark it as a 15-minute. Look at the 15, same scenario. So yeah, that's probably what I'd be, looking at next. Also, we have pretty much created them like equal-ish lows, but we have a lot of lows. Fuck me, what are you doing? A lot of lows here that you guys can potentially see. So, could that be a target of money? Imbalance below. imbalance there. If this was the case, something like this. Let's see. Let's see. So I'll be keeping an eye out on that for personal reasons. Yes, we're in this 1 hour supply, but the one thing I want you guys to understand, if you're looking at this going, why would you be looking to long this if we're in a 1 hour supply? The reason is because this was already mitigated. We had this break here, which we brought this low, we retraced, and then we should really now have just been, downtrending. That's what should have happened. Now, as you guys can see, we didn't get that. We retraced, mitigated the supply, filled in any imbalance, and then obviously now we just had this bullish movement away. So that's why, for me personally, I will be prioritizing the longs on the major pairs at the moment because it's the same scenario with um, the US dollar pretty much. So let's look at USD CAD and see what is going on from a 4 hour perspective. Yesterday, I got hit out at break even twice. You'll be able to see here, this is my new journal, which I talked about. Got my before and afters in there as well. Everything was met, so I was still happy, even if it just did the thing that I didn't want it to do, but break even on USD CAD and USD CHF. But yeah, let's look from this perspective. You guys can probably see that the market, obviously, we're reacting from this 4 hour demand area. We had this nice breakout yesterday, which allowed us to give us the confidence of this potentially coming attacking this imbalance as a minimum. Now, of course, market doing the market, it retraced into this 4 hour demand and just been sat there. If you look, it's been, what, 4 hours, 8 hours, so on and so on, just in this area, pretty much 16 hours in this area as we speak. So if you're looking at, the other time frames, can I see anything major? If I'm honest, not really. I'm going to cut this out. We are in this 1 hour demand still. We are just consolidating. Yeah, I would just need to see something significant again for me to participate. Something significant, and then I expect to pull back and then carry on. Um, or obviously, if we break below, then we can look to short this. But as of right now, yeah, there's nothing really nice on the 1 hour. If I look at the 30-minute, no, we are getting that movement again. Yeah, it's just one of them things at the moment where patience pays, and we have to make sure that we are patient. Because if you look at the structure on the 15, you guys can see this, it is downtrending, a lot. So obviously this come up, tapped into this 15-minute supply, should have created a new lower low. It hasn't done that, and now we're getting this bullish away. If we get a bullish engulfing candle on here, I won't participate. I'll be waiting for another one. I need to see something significant away from this area to obviously look for, because if you look on the 30-minute and so on and so on, maybe even the 1 hour, it's not, no, to be fair. Yeah. Anyway, I need to see something significant for me to even look for this multiple confluences, basically. USD CHF, now again, we are moving away. You little, because you hit me out a break even yesterday. Um, But yeah, man, if you look at where we're currently at the moment, again, this blue is representation of our candle of interest on the daily. You can see this is where the consolidation was, on that daily time frame. This is where the market is currently reacting from. Yeah, yesterday, pretty simple. If you look at it from this perspective, we broke out, created a higher high, pulled back, higher low, higher high, and we're just in this range from this low to now this high. Now, of course, let's mark this out actually so you guys can see which high and low I'm talking about. From here to here, it might be a bit clearer on the 1 hour. And obviously, if you look at I think it was a 2 hour or 1 hour maybe candle, is where the market obviously retraced to. We had this engulfing candle, market come back. Obviously, we had this movement away, which you guys will know I was in this trade. And then obviously, we had this yesterday hit me out of break even. And yeah, now we're slowly getting that market away. Now, again, whatever the dollar's doing, that's my priority. If the dollar is going to be bearish, then, could we see a reaction from, I don't know, this area where we're at right now? But again, that's not me saying that I'm going to be looking for this. Um, let's just see. Let's just see what's going on. But yeah, let's see what happens. Of course, looking at the four, what's annoying is this is creating a nice engulfing candle for bulls, but the dollar's not having the same reaction. USD CAD is not having the same reaction. So yeah, sitting on my hands and being patient basically. So let's see what happens with that. But yeah, as you guys can see from this higher low to this higher high, this our break, you guys can see that, the market could potentially, um, still short, but also we are in this range to long. So we just got to be patient, man. Like I have got to be patient and I need to get off this because I'll end up doing something stupid. Um, but looking at the daily on USD Japanese yen, easy scenario. We've got, let's mark it out so we can see. Daily higher low, a lot more cleaner looking to be fair. USD Japanese yen, daily higher high. Maybe if it aligns, this could be something that I could potentially look for. But yeah, you can see from here, we have this obviously last down candle, but I've gone for this here, pardon me, just because that's where the imbalance started as well. We had some imbalance to fill. So yeah, that's why I marked out this daily candle. Now, of course, we tapped into that. We had yesterday and today. No, Monday, Tuesday, we had it, just basic consolidating from this area. We dropped down to the four. What can we see? Well, we can see that we're still in this 4 hour range, and this is what I talked about yesterday. You can see that the market, obviously, we printed down, created a lower high, created a lower low. Obviously, that was our priority is, we're not going to look for anything until we break this high. Of course, what's happening right now is the market has obviously tapped in, failed to obviously go and create a new lower low yet. If we get some sort of nice bullish engulfing reaction, which, we see, that could tell us then to then look for longs on here. But just be patient with that. If we just look at the 1 hour, yeah, I need to see something from the dollar. Like I need to see, and the dollar is reacting now, but I need to see a significant reaction from the dollar in order for me to participate because I'm not putting money on the table if it's not there, if that makes sense. So definitely be waiting me personally for this break or this blue line, this lower high. Let's say we get this, and then obviously look to potentially long this up. So yeah, let's see. But other than that, guys, that is it for today's market outlook. I appreciate every single person as always. I will see you on our YouTube tomorrow, obviously. If you ever need anything to stay in contact, just go to my bio and my links are in there, or just put a comment below if you have any questions, and I'll try my best to answer them as fast as possible. But other than that, guys, take care and God bless.